Good morning, good morning, good morning, B. How's it going?
Good morning. Good morning. Good to be back. Happy to be here. How are you, Mama?
I'm great. I'm great. Welcome back. Welcome back. You were missed for sure.
Oh,
It was
I
tough.
miss y'all too. I miss these mornings.
Yeah, it was kind of tough for real. Just maneuvering back and forth. So welcome back. Thank you for coming back.
No problem at all.
Let's see. Are we going to do Instagram this morning?
Yes, I have it. I'm going to send it to you right now.
All right. I'm sure they will
Love to
be
get those people back
glad
on.
to get back on. I hope that they were going over to YouTube. We'll have to remind them again this morning because again I'm going to try to make every day possible. So as Brandon takes care of that, you guys, good morning. If you're in with us, YouTube people, say good morning. You guys have been quiet over there as well. I know that we have had a few people here and there, in and out. So say good morning. I know sometimes when the food is really, really good, you don't talk much. That's one way you could tell, right? If the food is really, really good. And well, I don't know. Sometimes sometimes people will fake it as well, but it's hard to fake good food versus bad food, right? So if you're over there, say good morning to us. Let us know how you are doing. I'm gonna get this Instagram set up. So I do see we have some people popping in.
Nice, nice.
Y'all
Good
say good
morning. Good
morning.
morning.
All
Good
right,
morning,
all right.
everybody. And
There we are,
welcome to the
Brandon.
show.
Sorry, you
Awesome.
should be okay to do
Okay.
your thing with Instagram.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Let me see it. Let it pop up here, and then we'll get started with the show. So, how the show's
Oh,
been? I've seen a couple of them. Of course, I had my grandmother's funeral on Saturday, so I was doing a lot of traveling, and I was a part of that whole Microsoft shutdown thing.
yeah.
My flight heading out on Friday, I get there early in the morning, one of the first flights out, and the police officer there, she tells me all the flights are canceled. So we had to you know, reroute, pun intended, and do something different. I ended up driving down there and back, pretty much within 48 hours or so. So it was a lot of driving to Florida and back, but I'm back and glad to be here. So thank you, Mom, for holding it down.
Yeah, yeah. I actually heard about it while I was because I was traveling as well for work, and I heard about it, and I told the lady at the front desk of the hotel I was trying to take care of some checking out business there. Um, and she said, "We can't do anything. You just have to write your name down here." And I was like, "What's going on?" And she said it. She said all the flights are canceled as well. And I was like, "Oh my God, my son is traveling today." She was like, "He's probably not." So yeah, but y'all, this is awesome. Auntie Richetta was the first person to say good morning this morning. She's the first person in the live. How about them apples?
Uh-oh.
I know this thing is
Thank
getting serious. Family reunion. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, thank you. I tell you over and over again, it just warms my heart to see you out there. So sweet daughter in love says great day loves. So she's out there as well. So Brandon, let's get rocking into it. Oh, for our Instagram people, please don't forget when we're not able to go live on Instagram, if you look for us and we're not there, we are on YouTube. 99 out of 100%, I'm going to be there. All right. If I'm
When is
not
that?
there, call Brandon and make sure, like, Brandon, is your mom okay? Call him and ask him if you don't see me out there or on Facebook. All right.
And one good way to do that
We
to make sure that you
miss
know
you guys.
to make sure that you know that the YouTube is up and going is if you can go there right now and subscribe on YouTube. That means like it, subscribe it, get a notification, turn those notifications on so that you'll know exactly when this is going live. And you don't have to do all the flipping through and typing in. You can just click right there in that notification. It'll let you into the show. So thank y'all so much. Kayla says good morning. She said I keep forgetting you guys are on YouTube. LOL. I've been wondering where you've been at. Yeah, Kayla. So you gotta see right now. You can just go ahead and go to the YouTube, hit the little subscribe button, hit the notifications, and you won't have to miss Mama because She ain't here for me, mama. She was like, man, I need your mama's energy in my life. She here
Is
for
that
you.
cousin? Is that cousin Kayla?
No. That's Raina's mama, Kayla.
Raina's mom, Kayla. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that she does the t-shirts for different people on our team and different people in the fight community here. So her,
Okay.
her and her husband do t-shirts and graphic designs and things like that. So she's been rocking with us for a minute now.
Okay. All right. Great. 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 What's the name of her t-shirt company?
What's the name of your t-shirt company? Kayla, let me know and I'll share it on the page.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
Oh,
Or have
cool.
her drop it. If she's on Facebook, have her drop her link in there because I may need to talk to her. So, but have her drop her link in the to us, to
Okay.
you, and then we'll get it out there. Or to feel free to drop it in
Cool.
there herself. And that goes for everybody. If you got a business, drop your business handle in the messages, in the comment sections. Please do that daily if you'd like. Daily. All right.
Great. And I'll get that from her and then share. She just put it's Odd Smoker MMA, but I'll share that that handle and everything with everybody later, probably in the comments or something on YouTube and on Facebook. But
Okay.
without further ado, y'all, it is July 24th. July 24th. So welcome here. If you haven't been here, many of you have been. Appreciate y'all coming and your consistency. We are reading through Daily Motivations for African American Success by Dennis Kimbro. And Daily Motivations for African American Success will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short but powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, the author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year, but what it teaches will last you a lifetime. So thank y'all again for joining us. Let's get in with the show. You ready, Mom?
I'm ready.
All right, the 24th. The 24th. Let's see. And our title is Ghosts of the Past. Let me take a sip of my coffee real quick just to prepare. I made that coffee. I mixed it myself this morning. Stella made the pot, but I mixed it myself, and I must say I did a fine job today. You know, when you get that good coffee, it just starts the morning off right. But today, on July 24th, the title again is Ghosts of the Past. I'm ready to close this chapter of my life. That were the words of retirement, I believe, by Billie Holiday, the jazz singer. When she was ready to get on down, she said, I'm ready to close this chapter of my life. Life moves on inexorably. Inexorably. Yep. Life moves on inexorably. Much as you might want to relive the past, to recapture a rare moment of delight, you cannot do it. You can recall the memories of past moments of glory, but you can never relive them. You can revisit scenes of your childhood, but you cannot re-experience bygone days. The aura has changed. There are no voices to hear, no old associations to relive. Everything is different. You are looking back through the haze of memory. Satchel Paige, the great pitcher from the historic Negro Leagues, quipped, don't look back. Someone could be gaining on you. Again, don't look back. Someone could be gaining on you. You can't go backwards. Life is a forward impulse. The past is gone. You can only live in the here and now. But there are compulsive people who insist on looking backward, rigid, attempting to stay within boundaries as though wearing blinders. They look to a past that cannot be relived or experienced again. They fail to understand that at best all they can do is react emotionally or intellectually to the past. They can never turn back the clock. Living in the past means clinging to non productive attitudes and remaining in situations that hinder your personal growth and development. Take an honest inventory of yourself. Be frank in your appraisal. Are you hanging on to relationships that aren't rewarding? Do you become involved with people or circumstances that drag you down? Do you find yourself thinking about the ways things might have been? And if so, then you are living in the past. I'll read that again. Be frank. It says take honest inventory of yourself. Be frank in your appraisal. Do you be, um, are you hanging on to relationships that aren't rewarding? Do you become involved with people or circumstances that drag you down? Do you find yourself thinking about the way things might have been? If so, then you are living in the past. And our affirmation and motivation for today, that is at the bottom of the page, says, today is a day of renewal. I will finally release those negative experiences in my past. They will no longer hold me back. Again, today is a day of renewal. I will find release. I will finally release those negative experiences in my past. They will no longer hold me back. I'll just read it 2 times today. What you think about that, Mom?
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And welcome back, Brandon. It's just so awesome to have you read it so I can ponder on it a bit more. And you can see way better than me, right? So let's start right here with our affirmation. Today is a day of renewal.
Mm,
Did y'all know that there's a National Renewal Day that we celebrate? Did y'all, anybody know that?
mm-mm,
So it's May 4th. Every year, May 4th. Isn't it something that it's not promoted like the other things? Because I'll tell you, most of the things that they give to us to celebrate are simply distractions. They don't feed the spirit, right? They don't allow for growth. So, National Renewal Day, we're going to start celebrating this day from this day forward. May 4th. It's a special day set aside for fresh starts.
mm,
This book gives us fresh encouragement every day of the year, right? If
right.
we would allow it. So it's set aside for fresh starts and new beginnings, perfectly timed with the arrival of spring, a season in this season podcast, right? A season known for renewal and growth.
Mm,
This day encourages us to take a step back, reflect on our lives, and make the changes where they are necessary. Why don't we hear about this day?
mm,
Why isn't it celebrated, right? Think about New Year's resolution. They give it to us. Why? Because they know we ain't gonna do nothing with them. We just gonna say what we gonna do and we not gonna do it, right?
right.
But this one is different. Step back, it says, assess yourself in a sense. This our passage today talks about appraise yourself, right? So y'all remember that. National Renewal Day is May 4th. May 4th. A season known for renewal and growth. We have to be renewed, right? Be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind. The ghost of your past is in your mind. They are in your mind. So let's break it down. Life moves on inexorably, right? That just means without stopping. Your life is going to go on whether you see the ghost or not. Life moves on whether you do or not. You can stay stuck in your past, only seeing the ghost of your past, whether that be, and I keep saying this, y'all, because sometimes I'm going to say this and I'm not throwing shade on anybody. Let me just not say it. Let me just not say it. You will keep seeing the ghost of your past, whatever those are, people, circumstances, situations. As I say and have said many times, trauma. We keep throwing that word around. I get it. I get it. I get it. But if we can throw trauma, the word trauma around, Let's throw the word healing. Let's heal. Okay. Everybody had some traumatic experience. All of us. But some of us have healed and we've moved on. We don't keep revisiting the past. We're not compulsive people who are stuck in the past, right? We have chosen, or we choose to be people that insist on looking forward than backwards, right? So it says you can't go backward. You can in your mind, and usually that's where you're doing it at. Whatever someone did to you, if they're not still doing it, then you're doing it to yourself. If they are still doing it to you and you're accepting it, you're doing it to yourself. Period. Our message yesterday was said, it's time, wake up. It's time to take responsibility for your life, for who you are, for what you see, whether it's the ghost of your past, right? Or the angels of your future. And the only way you see the angels is if you are connected to the divine flow. Doesn't mean they're not there, but oftentimes we won't see them because we're not there spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, even sometimes. So, much of us might want to relive the past to recapture a rare moment of delight. You cannot do it. So, just like the things, the ghost of your past, even the good things that have happened to us, right? If we try to go and continue in reliving those, you can't do that either. But just like the ghost, you keep them alive in your past. Let's keep the joy, the angels alive, the good things that have happened to us. Why don't we focus on those? Why is it so much easier to remember what they did to me, what he or she did to me, how they made me feel, how he or she made me feel negatively? Why is it easier to hold on to the ghost than the angel? Right? And so I want to, Brandon, there's a word that I want to pull out here. There's a couple of them, but I'm going to turn it over to you after this one. Let's see here. Compulsive is my word.
Mm.
Let me get down here. Um, Being compulsive, you guys, just basically means that you're, again, hanging on to something that creates disorder in your life. OCD comes from being compulsive, and compulsive, again, you're fearful. You're hanging on to that ghost or those ghosts from the past, and they're keeping you stuck rather than moving on. They're keeping you in your clinging to the non productive things and attitudes in your life. So I'm going to, as Brandon, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to find the things that I had ready for today. And before we end, I want to give you guys some things, some takeaways in case you're that person who is stuck and then you insist on being compulsive, people who insist on looking backward. You can't recreate it. You can't redo it. You can't make it not have happened. So all you can do is deal with it. Forgive yourself, forgive the situation, the circumstance, and the person or the people. Because guess who's losing? Guess who's losing? You are. Guess who's dying? Guess who's dead but alive? You are. They're keeping you dead. Your ghosts are keeping you in your grave, open grave. Like you've got dug your grave, got in it, laid in it, but nobody has put the dirt over you. So it's just an open grave. Imagine that. It is time to wake up and take responsibility for your life. That was our quote yesterday. Wake up. Over to you, Brandon.
Thank you, Mom. I appreciate that so much for those insights. You're always so wise in the way you put things. Um, Ghosts of the past. I'm looking at this and looking at the motivation at the bottom where it said, so I'll start where you did as well. Today is a day of renewal. I will finally release those negative experiences in my past. They will no longer hold me back. This is a type of ghosts of the past are a type of suffering, right? Like we suffer more than we have to. You can experience things. You can even have traumas in your life, right? And there's much work to do mentally and emotionally and even intellectually or even socially sometimes with healing your traumas, because once trauma happens, it's so ingrained into how humans are made even, right? Because when we had to survive outside of modernity, right? If we went to a certain place or visited a certain tree, um, pun intended, if you think about Adam and Eve, and visited a certain tree, we had a traumatic experience from that tree. We might not want to, or when we see that tree again, we're going to be, in many cases, triggered with that memory of, oh my goodness, I had this traumatic experience there. And before modernity, some of those traumatic experiences, as far as eating the wrong berry, or standing too close to the wrong animal, or stepping in the wrong space, have it be quicksand, could be fatal. Those decisions could be fatal, right? So we have um, this natural knee jerk reaction, instinctual reaction, to avoid things that cause us certain types of trauma. Ghosts of the past reminds me that we can suffer in a duality of ways. We can suffer both from bad experiences and failures, and we can also suffer from good experiences and successes. Now, what do I mean by that? Have you ever heard someone use the term "I'm suffering from success" or "to suffer from success"? That means that success was so good or is so good that you're actually suffering from it. You're super tired. You're very, all these. You have there are decreasing returns on that. The more you do, the worse you feel. Right? I saw a podcast with the one call him Charlemagne the God, right? Call him Charlemagne the God from the Breakfast Club. He was doing a interview with the Diary of a CEO podcast, right, on YouTube, and he said that when he came onto the Breakfast Club and his name was being pretty much shot into fame because of his radio personality, he said that was the most, at that time, the most success that he had ever seen, the most money he had ever seen, the most notoriety and fame that he had ever received as a radio personality, or in life, period. And he said it was one of the most stressful, one of the most depressing times that he had, right? And the reason that he said that, he was still having panic attacks the same way that he was, if not more now, as he was when he was younger, right? So all the attention, all the acclaim, all the notoriety wasn't curing the traumas that he had experienced. And not only that, but his body's and his really it's his body's compulsive, and mentally too, compulsive returning to those traumas. And oftentimes these heightened emotions of, they say hate is just love in reverse, right? Or they say, because you're still giving it that attention. Likewise, success and failure, they have their reflexes of each other, they're inverses of each other, right? So it doesn't surprise me that sometimes we can suffer from success the same way we suffer from failures. Now, how do you suffer from success but in your past? Well, you might say, well, when I was younger and I was like this, and I would do this, and I went here, or when I worked at this job, or uh, back when my daughter was, a child, we used to have this type of relationship, right? Or this family member, when 10 years ago we used to speak, now we don't talk, and they suffer from that. Emotions are the our inklings, our intuitions to go solve your problems. They just can point in certain directions. They're not made to make decisions for you, but they are the reason that they come up inside of us are because we aren't dealing with them. And that's why I like what it says, take an inventory, right?
Mm.
Take an honest inventory of yourself and be frank in your appraisal, right? Because a lot of those things, if you're holding on to certain things, right? Whether it be someone that did it to you, whether it be you forgiving yourself, you're reliving those negative experiences. You're trying to relive instead of living here and now, and it's an unnatural approach. You're automatically going to be stressed because you are not in that moment. Remember, we read from a previous passage where I think it was the native people or the indigenous people of a particular space. They stopped for a break after traveling and traveling and
Mhm.
traveling and traveling. The people that was pretty much sponsoring them or paying for their services to help them travel through, I think, a remote river or something like that. We're like, why aren't we going? Why are you just sitting down? Why aren't we traveling again today? And they said, if I'm not mistaken, I'm letting my spirit or my soul catch up with my body, right? So sometimes we're moving too fast, and sometimes we're living in the past. Living in the past often causes depression, whether you're looking at your good or your bad. But if you're living in the future, it can cause anxiety, right? So anxiety is being too worried about what's to come and thinking that you can control it somehow, or being discontent about the fact that you don't control it. But in either situation, you are not changing the circumstance, right? Because you are losing the current moment. Either way, if you keep reliving the past trauma, you're only hurting yourself. The person, the people, the places that gave you that negative experience are only responsible for that experience. They will not be punished, even in my opinion, by the Almighty in perpetuity for that one thing. That will be a sin, right? Even in my faith, in my faith tradition, your good deeds are valued more and given more weight than your bad deeds. And there's a stratification on major and minor sin, right? But to do a good deed already counts double. So you have incentive to do good. To do a bad deed counts one. So you're decentivized to do that. But how wrong is it of us to blame ourselves over and over and over and over again for one mistake, when it would be better for us to not only, digest that emotion from that mistake, digest that failure, take accountability for that mistake, right? Take an honest inventory of yourself and be frank in your appraisal. But guess what? You don't have to do that again tomorrow and the next day and the next day if you do it completely and fully now, right? And once you're done with that, stay present and move on, right? Give yourself the space to correct whatever mistake you made. Because if you aren't in the mental and emotional state, if you're still in the past, you can't be present enough to change your moment, your current moment. And the current moment is what is all that exists. That's all that truly exists. Everything else is an attachment to the past. And that's a kind of a Buddhist uh philosophical perspective, that all suffering comes from attachment.
Mm.
All suffering comes from attachment, whether it be to people, places, things, or a time that where we are either not in yet or not in anymore. All you have is the ever present moment. That's the only thing that you can change. And while you're thinking and suffering again and again, in the cycle of suffering, reliving it over and over, whether it be good or whether it be bad, you are still foregoing the current moment when you could be doing something better. You could be changing the moment right now. You could be successful right now, so you don't have to suffer from the success of the past. You could be open to fixing whatever mistake that you made, or providing some type of justice to whatever mistake that you made. You could be working toward the goals of correction, right? As opposed to ceaselessly and compulsively reflecting. Some of us are immobilized by our own reflection. Some
Mm.
of us are immobilized and incapacitated by our own reflection. And I mean that both physically and metaphysically, right? You comparing yourself to your old self, or you punishing your current self because of your old self. You don't give yourself the space to be a human being. And what can a human being do that's unlike any other creature? We can change ourselves with intention. We can change our perspective by what we give attention to. And we can then release the tension of the past. Okay? So what are you doing with your tension? Your intention, your attention, and what is it? Is it causing tension within you? Right? So release that. Let it go. And then also, there's another form of this, and I know we got to go to the seventh, or we're getting towards the end. Another thing I think that we suffer from is the filtering of our innermost self by the expectations of others. Some people haven't forgiven themselves for their past, so they damn sure ain't about to forgive you for yours. And in that case, they don't see you,
They see them.
they see them. Or they don't see your current self because they're blinded by the ghost of your past. Right? They're blinded by the ghost of your past. What if you were judged everywhere you went by the worst of the deeds that you've done in your entire life? Think of the worst thing that you've ever done, whether it's known or unknown. Think of something that you are just not proud of. And I'm not asking you to look at to revel in the ghost of your past, right? But imagine if because that's what we're identifying, the ghost of the past. In this case, the worst thing you've ever done. Imagine if that you wore that deed on your shirt, right? There's a book called The Scarlet Letter, where there was a woman that they branded. They would brand people in the old times of the first colonists coming over to America,
Mm.
and they branded her with the letter A as an adulteress, right? And she had to walk around with that on her clothing, basically, the Scarlet Letter, right? So imagine if you had to walk around every day with, let's say people that have been to jail. What if they had every day they had to walk around with a sign that said, drunk, or domestic abuser, or thief, or divorcee, right? What if you had to walk around with something like that around? And that's very much how people could look at you, and you could be changing your perspective, changing how you experience life, changing how you see yourself based on other people's perception of your past ghosts, right? Imagine if you never read Alex Haley's the autobiography of Malcolm X, right? Y'all know that great book? I got it in here somewhere. The autobiography of Malcolm X. I got it right back there. If you say I'm not reading that because what he did is Detroit Red. No, Detroit Red was the name that Malcolm X went by when he was a street thug, right? A hustler, a gambler. Someone that misused and appropriated women, right? Well, you say I'm never reading the autobiography of Malcolm X because of what I heard he did as Detroit Red. You would miss out on an amazing book. You would miss out on one of the most impactful books of African American culture, right? So all that to say is the ghosts of the past. So either you're holding on to it or you're holding on to the perceptions of other people who cannot stop reliving the past or re-seeing the ghosts of your past, whether they be good or whether they be bad. But all you have is the current moment. Do the best with what you have because that's all you have. Anything else is wasting what you currently have in your hands. Right? And that is a new chance, a new breath, a new heartbeat, and a new opportunity to be your best self. All right, back to you, Mom.
So, you guys, for the sake of time, I'm going to be really quick here and I'll share some things out on the Facebook page. Brandon, does Instagram get to see the comments and all of those? I don't, do they get to see
No,
the
so
comments?
see their own comments. So the comments that they have, the people that are watching the show, they can see their comments through Instagram, but they can't see the
Okay.
comments from YouTube or the comments from Facebook Live. Like the people from Facebook Live can't see the comments from YouTube.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Yep, yep.
Um, and the reason I was asking because we put a lot of things out on the Facebook page. Maybe I need to start trying to do that on YouTube as well because again, what we learn here, we need more time to contemplate on and to study, especially those things that hit home with us. So I'm going to have to do that with some of this compulsive, especially with the compulsive behavior. Um, I may just find myself doing a whole show on this word, compulsive reactions and things like that. I have a question here from Mike. So he says, I have a serious question. Is there any kind of trauma that cannot be healed? For example, mothers losing their son to violence at a young age. I talked to a woman that said for years, no matter what she has tried, her soul hurts every day. Every year when birthdays or anniversaries of the incident, she says her soul dies. So is it possible that something can't be healed, just like some injuries never truly heal? Um, this is and of course I cannot sit in her seat and advise because my son is Brandon is sitting here across from me alive well, so I cannot predict how I would respond to it. For sure it would hurt, right? And it would be a traumatic experience, but it would still be my responsibility to not let it kill me, if that makes sense. And I know again, it's easy to say because Brandon is here, but in losing my grandmother at such a young age, I realized at a later age that that particular situation killed me in the moment. Right? It was a place that I was consistently living from unconsciously, and it wasn't until I started to heal that I saw the effects it had upon me. So I'll say we can heal. It doesn't mean that we will forget and feel the effects of it, but we can heal. It doesn't mean that we don't think about it. It would be absurd to think that a mother or a father loses their child, or anyone, whether it's to violence or anything, right? Whatever it's the reason that the person's not here really is irrelevant. And I understand that there's some things that may hit harder because you feel like, oh, they were killed. Same thing, they're not here. And so I would say, yes, you can heal. You can heal to the point where you can live and let it not control you. Because truth be told, y'all, we all got to leave here. We all are going to leave here. And that's the reason why I've stopped I've stopped and trying to say, my son, my grandchildren, my anything.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing belongs to me. Nothing and no one belongs to me. So we form this sense of attachment to people and things that are not ours. The ghosts from the past. So imagine, you guys, you're going to California and you drive backwards all the way there. Imagine how many things will be torn apart by your compulsive behavior to live in the past. And that's what you do. When you are living in the past, you are driving backwards to your destination, wrecking, running into innocent people, right? Imagine that. And so that's what you are doing. You're driving backwards. It's 7:41. I got to get out of here. So you
That,
can't go backward. Life is a forward impulse. The past is gone. You can only live in the here and now, here and right now. And you have to condition your mind to do that. But there are compulsive people who insist on looking backward.
Mom, I wanted to say something really quick to what Mike was speaking on
Hmm.
in his question. Excuse me. But I sent you a video a while, less than a month ago, of a Palestinian mother in Gaza who was bidding farewell to her fourth son killed in the onslaught over there that's going on, right? Her fourth son. And I'm not gonna play it because you guys, I know you guys don't speak the Arabic or whatever, but she says she's I'm looking at her now and she has a smile on her face. They're looking at their bodies right now, the bodies of one of her sons.
Mm.
She's looking at the body of one of her sons. She has a smile on her face, dressed in a colorful hijab. And she says, "Thank God. God take from our beloved." Until you see, my son is in a prostrating position because her son was killed while praying. They bombed a mosque that had already been bombed. They were still praying on the rubble later, days and days later, and then they bombed them again. And he said, this prostration is a sign of victory. She says, this prostration is a sign of victory. We are proud. We're proud, and we believe they are martyrs in the eyes of God. Thank God. Right? She says, this is your blanket, my son. Mu'min, mean you true believer. May God ease your passing, my dear. She's still smiling. Thank God. Right? How many of your sons have been martyred? Someone asked. And she said, four. Four, and I'm so proud of them. Four. I don't have any children left. All of them are gone. I believe they're all martyrs in the graciousness of God. Why are you smiling? They asked. And she said, why should I be sad? My sons are all in heaven. And she said, and I will follow them soon. This is an honor for me.
Mm.
How can you heal from trauma? Right? Because even though she said, my sons, she knows that they don't belong to her.
Mm.
These are people, the people that I was talking about. These are people like her, are people that I said who are better than us, but have it worse than we do. So who are we not to be grateful for what we have? And like the Buddhist philosophy was said, all suffering comes from attachment. The people that died aren't suffering anymore. They're not dying ceaselessly. We're experiencing their death ceaselessly. They're not feeling the pains of death or their soul coming out of their throat by the angel of death. They're not experiencing that over and over and over again. They're free of it, but we are still attached because in some ways we are selfish because of the relationship we had with them, the moments we had with them, how they made us feel, you know. Love people while they're here. That's how we can heal from it, by knowing that they weren't ours in the first place, right? And coming to terms with that. And not losing our love, but losing our attachments. Not losing our love, but losing our attachments. And may we all have the blessing of passing away without having attachments to this world
Mm. Or to people.
or to people.
Or
And
to
you can
people.
love people without being attached. You
Right.
can truly love people unconditionally without being attached. But attachment is a human emotion, and it is good for, like, families and things staying together. But there's a difference between
So healthy.
compulsive attachment and sacred attachment, or just attachment. And by just, I mean just to your own heart and just to theirs. All right, so it's just something to consider. We're all human, and we're all battling with different things, and it's not wrong to be attached, right? These are survival techniques, but we don't have to live in a state of survival all the time, right? And in our lives. So I think I pray we all get healed, because Lord knows I think we all need it. Speaking to myself first.
So, quickly, I thought about my grandmother, my other grandmother, the one that recently moved on. I'll
Yeah.
say that. And I remember as a little girl looking at her at the funeral of my uncle, and she wasn't crying. And I just remember, um, because I had some understanding of death, right? And how could she not cry? But there was a level of strength that my grandmother had through God, through her relationship with God, and that she knew that God, she knew that it was okay, right? Not that she didn't hurt, didn't feel it, but she sat there thanking God, thanking Him, pulling her strength from Him, right? From her relationship with Him. So it's really about how we look at life and the relation. And I'm not measuring anybody's relationship with God, but there comes a time when you start to, yesterday, take the responsibility. When you change, the world change, and everything that happens in the world changes from your perspective. Doesn't mean you don't grow through some things, that life doesn't happen to you, but you give me this situation with the question that Mike had, and I'll show you a mother who has found a way to heal. There's nothing new under the sun. So you give me one situation, I'll show you the same situation where a mother or a father has lost a child and they've found a way. They found some purpose in it. And through that purpose in it, there's some healing, not just for them, but for the world. So yeah, I'll say yes, you can heal. You
Hey,
can
mom.
heal. Don't mean you will forget, right? But like divorce will kill some people.
Yeah.
Divorce will help some people move on. It's your perception, your viewing, the way you live in it and through it.
Did you see that? There's a video of I think it was a Pakistani man from a Pakistani or Indian. He was a Muslim too. Actually, he was a Muslim man. His son was killed, was murdered by someone, and he was in the court. And the guy who killed his son, he looked at the man and he said, "I forgive you," and reached out to him to give him a hug.
Mm, I didn't
And
see that.
he hugged him and embraced him. The guy was sobbing because he could not believe that this man had forgiven him.
Mm,
Right, and it was viral for, it was years ago, a couple years ago.
no, I
But
didn't see that.
I'll send it to you. But he hugged him, embraced him. So, like, I mean, can you guys imagine having that amount of strength, that amount of resolve, that amount of forgiveness in your heart? There's a, I'm gonna
Mm,
leave with this because I know we all got to go. There's a hadith in Islam, which is one of the sayings of the Prophet, is peace be upon him. He said that in heaven, there will be a time when God laughs. Right? There's a time, a meeting that happens when God will laugh in heaven, or Jannah, and it's when the one who was killed and one who killed him will meet each other in heaven.
mm,
Right?
mm,
The one who was killed, went to heaven. Right? After Judgment Day, he went to heaven, and the one who killed him lived longer and went to heaven too. And they met each other in heaven, and God laughed. So a lot of times, if God forbid, to kill someone is a horrible thing. but hearts can still change. And if
Yeah.
God can change somebody that murdered someone, who unrightfully took life that he did not give or have the right to take away, and that man can has the ability to change enough for God to show him mercy and it be just, then who are we to hold on? Who are we? Now, if that person's still murdering, if that person's still in that state, then understandably so.
Mm.
Understandably so. But God, who's better than us, sees this person change for the better. They might be charitable. They might save lives after that. Let's say he saved 10 lives but killed one. Does he deserve hell? You know what I'm saying? Who is the most just, right? And so we have to think about these things in a spiritual way,
Yeah.
right? In a spiritual way instead of a way of the flesh. Being attached to the flesh is being attached to this world. We're made of the same thing that this earth is. All right. And so God laughed in that instance. And I just wanted to share that with y'all before we wrap up.
Yeah. So I'll have to share the things that I have later. I'm going to read the comments and we'll get out of here. It says, Mike says, the kids of war and veterans of war sometimes have been known to wake up screaming, even though they have had therapy. Um, for sure. Again, it doesn't, y'all, it's not that it's not present. It's how we are present, right?
Mm.
Because it's, say that again. I'm sorry, Brandon, I cut you off.
Oh no, no, I was agreeing. I was amening over here.
Okay. So it's not that we can never be absent of life happening, but it's like we said with the tire. If we know tires go flat and we know we got a car with tires on it, when the tire goes flat, the tire just is doing what it does. Dogs bark. You know, I was out yesterday and I saw this lady with three. I mean, one of the kids, their laugh was so contagious. I mean, the kid, it was a little girl, she's about 4 years old, y'all. She was laughing at nothing. And I started laughing. And the mother is trying to get her to shut up, saying, "You don't laugh like that in the store." I'm like, "Yes, she does. She's not attached to the store or the people in it. She's laughing. She's covering her mouth to keep her from laughing." I mean, she was laughing so to the point where I'm sitting there laughing just because she's laughing. And here this mother is worried about what people are going to think and say. So we don't have to be attached to moments, not even trauma. You don't have to be attached to it because, again, you show me somebody that can't get over it, and I'll show you the same scenario where someone has chosen to get over it. It's a choice. And I saw, Mike, where it says, "I've learned my strength because what I survived, many would fold." Another way to look at that is someone else, what they survived would have made you fold. And I do believe that we're all strong in our ways. Not really. I see you say some are stronger than others. I, for sure, in different aspects, but we try to be strong in our own strength. And the kind of strength my grandmother had to sit there and see her son be buried and be able to thank God is what we can only get. What I was talking about, a relationship with God that puts you in the divine rhythm, the divine flow of life. Because that's when you've given it, you've surrendered your all, even your pain, your happiness, your joy. Because I could sit here today in a winning season, and tomorrow will be a whole nother season because life happens just like that. Life pops on us just like that. So you have to be willing to. There's a quote that says, I don't break, I bend." Back to the tire. Some people will have a flat tire and, "Oh, the devil is after me, da 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 da." When truth be told, you knew the tire was bad 6 months ago. And you just need another compulsive way to take the responsibility from yourself to grow, to
y'all
be
give
the change that you want to see in the world. Hmm?
y'all giving the devil too much power.
Power,
Y'all,
exactly.
every
Tires
time,
go
every
flat, right, KL?
time
Tires
you
go
say,
flat.
every time you say the devil after me, every time you say that was the devil ain't got no influence but to suggest, but to whisper. It's what we allow in that allows them to take possession, to take influence over us. That's our own selves allowing it to do so, right? They only have the power to suggest. But every time you say it's the devil, you make him bigger. He laughs. They love our fear, our fret. They feed off of it. It gives them energy to see us in distress, despair, disunity, discontent, and feel uh, demoralized. Right? That gives them power. That literally, they
Mhm.
literally, when I say literally, they literally feed off of it. So do not give them power. That whisper in your left ear, excuse me, that whisper in your left ear that you think is your own thoughts is just them whispering so fast that you think they're your own thoughts, right? Separate yourself from that and know that that power of suggestion doesn't mean it has to be compulsive. You don't have to obey it, right? You can have a million reasons why someone can continue to suffer, but they just need one to be free. So instead
Mhm.
of focusing on the million ways that they are going to maintain that trauma, focus on the one way that they will, or you will rehabilitate and live present. It might take meditation. It might take prayer. It might take attention. It will take intention, but we can all get there and we all have the ability. If that mother can, if great grandma can, if that man can, who had who hugged the murderer and forgave the murder of his son, if that man, that man who killed a man and repented, lived a good life, or was martyred himself in the cause of God, can make it to heaven and God can forgive him, then who are we to not forgive at least ourselves? But take an honest inventory, right? And be frank in your assessment and your appraisal, excuse me. All right. And let's go ahead and get there. So let's wrap it
So,
up, Mom, if you don't mind.
yeah, yeah, I got to get out of here too. I did want to read. KL says, "Believe it or not, I've forgiven the man that killed my mother. He stuck around, called the ambulance, and stayed." KL, I for some reason I had no idea
Oh, man.
of that. So our
Wow.
condolences to you all over again for that. Mike says, "Thanks for your response. I will take everything we discuss and help others to heal from their traumas." Um, I gotta say this, and I'm not gonna say anything else out of this book. Mike, when you come across the person, the mother, ask her when time permits, pray about this. What is it, or if there is anything that she feels responsible for, right? Does she feel somewhat responsible for it? Not that she is, but a lot of times we hold on to things because we feel we should have or could have did something to prevent it more, right? And we don't really see it until someone's gone. And I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm just speaking from my heart and my spirit, right?
Mhm.
If that is the case, you will know it from her answer, whether says yes or no. Ask her to forgive herself, right? To forgive herself that it's not, none of it's her fault, right? And that might help free her a bit. So ask her the question, is it anything that you're holding on to that you may feel you could have prevented this in some way, shape, form, or fashion, right? Because a lot of times we carry some guilt after people are no longer with us. And you have to release that because all you can do is all you can do. And all you did was all that you did because you cannot go back. So pray about that and ask on God's speed, God's time. I'll say that. And I'll share some of the things out on the page, you guys, later on today. So, Brandon, we'll get out of here.
All right. Um, Thank y'all for joining us. It's been a great show. It's good to be back. It's good to be here with y'all to interact, in the morning with you, Mom, and all of our watchers, fully subscribers. If you guys haven't subscribed to the YouTube, please go do that now. Just when we log off here, go to End This Season Podcast on YouTube. Find this link and add it to your subscriptions. But there's no excuse, especially if you come here every day and we don't have you as a subscriber. What are you doing? What are you doing? All right. So today's July 24th title was Ghosts of the Past. And Billie Holiday, the jazz singer, said, "I'm ready to close this chapter of my life." Is there a chapter that you need to close in your life, right? That chapter is done, right? And we talked about the ghosts of the past and people trying to relive all of their situations over and over and over again, whether it be bad or good. And we came to the affirmation and inspiration at the end of the passage, and it reads, and I'll only read it twice today. Today is a day of renewal. I will finally release those negative experiences in my past. They will no longer hold me back. Today is a day of renewal. I will finally release those negative experiences in my past. They will no longer hold me back. I needed that one. I needed it. So I'm taking that today, and I'm going to make sure that in certain things, I'm going to release and let go. And I hope y'all do the same. All right? Look at you. What you see? Y'all see, I can't do nothing serious with this lady. I'll be serious for one moment.
Prayer answered. Praise dance. What you say you gonna do, Brandon? You needed this one today. What you gonna do?
I laugh at you.
What you gonna do?
We still got lunch planned today.
What you gonna do today?
Huh?
Is today a day of renewal for you?
So I'm gonna read the affirmation 3 times today. I
Mama
did
praise dance.
y'all. Today is the day of renewal. Mom, you so silly. I will finally release those negative experiences in my past. They will no longer hold me back. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Y'all go
I
do it.
drew the circle. I drew the circle. That's a prayer request. You got to pray the
What you?
price. Pray the price in this life, right? You got to pray the price, y'all. All right. Peace, y'all.
All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy. Love y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow, 7 a.m. same time.